Today's lesson is lesson 85, and it's found on page 553. Two major objectives. We will be converting units of liquid measure in the United States customary system. We will also convert between units of liquid measure in the metric system. In the United States customary system, there are a few different major units of liquid. The main one we have is ounces, typically with smaller units. We'll also have pints, gallons, as well as quarts. Quarts are smaller than gallons, of course. And then in the metric system, we'll be dealing mainly with liters. Liters will be our typical unit of measure, and then we have milliliters. Okay. Again, understanding in metric system, we've got a liter. That's the generic measurement. Milliliter will be 1,000th of a liter. If we had a centiliter, that would be 100th, just like using units of length like meters, millimeters, and centimeters. These cartons and bottles have capacity on page 554. They show a half gallon, a 2-liter bottle of water. They also show a 1 quart bottle of juice. A container's capacity refers to the amount of liquid it can hold. So if you have a bottle, its capacity is measured in one of these different measurements. Now, if it's in the metric system, we typically will convert from units of volume or units of liquid. In the metric system, we won't go from the metric system to the United States system, at least not this year. Okay? There's a table found on page 554. That table will be relatively important. We'll probably need to go back to it every now and then. I'm not going to write down the metric system because the only two units we're going to deal with is milliliters and liters. There are 1,000 milliliters in liters. We have 16 ounces equals 1 pint. We have 2 pints equals 1 quart. We also have 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. Now, this is very similar to converting units of length, units of distance. You just have to memorize the conversions. And if you can't memorize the conversions, and you're not necessarily expected to, you can always just you can always flip back to this table, and you can convert after you look at the table and understand how many pints are in a quart or quarts are in a gallon. Okay, example 1. We'll of course write this down in our notebooks or on our sheets. Example 1 says 1 quart of juice is how many ounces of juice? So we have 1 quart, and we're converting it to ounces. Okay, I look back at my sheet, and it says 16 ounces equal a pint, 2 pints equal a quart. So what you have to do, okay, is take the quart, and I'm going to convert it to pints. And I know that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So really I have 2 pints equals how many ounces? And I know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pint, so I'm just going to multiply 2 by 16 because there are 16 ounces in 1 pint. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. There are 32 ounces in 1 quart of juice. And that's your answer for example 1. Example 2, it says a half gallon of milk. So I have a half gallon of milk equals how many quarts of milk? Well, if I look back at my table, okay, I know that 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So in order to find half of 4 quarts, because 1 gallon is 4 quarts, I take 4 quarts, and I'll just divide that by 2. Okay, again, understanding that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon, I need to take 1/2 of 1 gallon, or 1/2 of 4 quarts. By dividing 4 by 2, I know that 1/2 gallon is equal to 2 quarts. And this is your example 2. Your answer for example 2. Example number 3. It shows a table. And on that table it's got 2 rows. The rows are labeled gallons and pints. Okay, and they show 1 gallon is 8 pints. 2 gallon is 16 pints. 3 gallons is 24. 4 is 32. And they don't tell us 4. Okay? 4 and 5, they're trying to get us to figure out. They also ask us at the end what 5.5 gallons is. So for this one, I guess example 3, let's just write this table on the back. We've got a table, we've got 2 rows again labeled gallons and pints. We're going to draw our table horizontally, 2 long rows. We're splitting it up into 6 columns. I do want you to write down 8, 16, and 24 under 1, 2, and 3. We need to basically figure out a pattern. And I recognize a pattern up here. It looks like we add 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 3, 4, and 5. I guess that pattern doesn't work for this next one. Here our pattern is 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 8 is 24. That might work as long as these are only increasing by 1, but it doesn't look like that would work here. So what we have to do is figure out maybe a pattern that goes from top to bottom. And if we get from 1 gallon to 8 pints, I know that 1 times 8 is 8. Does that work for the second one? 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. So it does look like it works. And it should work, because according to our table, okay, we have 2 pints equals 1 quart, and 4 quarts equal a gallon. So really there are 8 pints in a gallon. And if there are 8 pints in 1 gallon, there are 16 pints in 2 gallons, and there should be 24 in 3. So really, to figure out the number that should go below our number of gallons, we should multiply this number by 4. And if we take 4 times 8, we get 32 pints. And 32 should go in the bottom of your table. Now I take 5 times 8, and I guess I know 5 times 8 is 40. So I'm going to write 40 right there. Now what we end up having is, I know that 5 gallons equals 40 pints. I also have to figure out what half of a gallon is worth and how many pints that is. Well, if 1 gallon was 8 pints, half of a gallon should be 4 pints. And now if I add 40 plus 4, I should find that 5.5 gallons is equal to 44 pints. Again, understanding that this entire table should just go on the back side. You can label it example 3 at the top. Okay, example number 4. Now we're actually working with the metric system. It says a half liter, 1/2 liter equals 500 milliliters. Well, that makes sense because 1 liter equals 1,000 liter. Half of a liter should be 500 milliliters. How many milliliters are equal to 3.5 liters? Okay, so 3 1/2 liters is equal to how many milliliters? Okay, well, I know that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter, so there should be 3,000 in 3. Okay, they also told us that there is, in 1/2 of a liter, there are 500 milliliters, so I have 3,500 milliliters. And this is your answer for example number 4. Okay, and now we do have no more practice problems, so let's try to think of something to write down for example number 5. Example number 5, yesterday we dealt with mean, mode, median, and range. Let's find the mean of this set of numbers. Okay, the mean of this set of numbers. If you don't know what the mean is, flip back to lesson 84. It is in there. Okay, the mean for example 5. And if you want to show your work, you can show your work on the back. You can write your work down on a separate piece of paper. I just need the mean of this set of numbers. Have a great night. Hopefully that was short enough for you. I will see you tomorrow.